Okay, this is going to be as short a video as I can possibly make for just some quick reference stuff to make Excel easier. A couple things, if you haven't noticed already, the location of each individual box, they're referred to as cells, and each one has an address, a location, C for sort of like battleship or map locations, map coordinates, and it's always column, row, and the columns are letters, the rows are numbers. So all of these columns are letters, the rows are numbers. Also notice this little box right here. This is what they call a name box, and so it automatically tells you the name of the cell right there. So over here in Excel, we've got some data that I'm going to use just to kind of give you guys a quick example of several things that'll save us some time and hopefully be helpful. First of all of this is just data. You'll notice that if I click on any individual cell up here in the formula bar, there's no formulas, it's just data or text. And notice as I click around, look over here at the name box, and notice that it gives the cell location every time I click on it. C3, A5, whatever. Okay, so we're going to go over here to this one underneath subtotal, and a subtotal, we're going to pretend these are sales of a cash register or something. So we're going to add up item 1 plus item 2, and you can do what Dr. Guy's been doing. By the way, notice on the name thing it popped up the most common functions that I've used, or the most recent one, and of course percent rank was something I was playing with on the homework. So anyway, back to our formula here. You can type inside the cell or you can type in the formula bar, either spot, and I'm going to click on this. This is what Dr. Guy does. Then on the keyboard I'm going to hit plus, and then here's your other option. Rather than going over and selecting the cell, personally I like to type in the actual location. So I'll just type in, I'm going to add C4 to that, and using the keyboard C4, and notice that I didn't capitalize it, C and 4, and it popped up the drop down menu of all of the formulas that start with C. I'll just ignore it, type in 4, and it goes, oh, you're doing a location, and it color codes it and everything for you. Hit equals. Notice that it's showing up both here in the cell and here. I could be typing it in either place, it doesn't matter, but then you have to hit enter to tell it to calculate, and then you can go right there, and if you double click in the cell, okay, you can edit in here, and notice everything's all nice and color coordinated. Whoops, escape always helps, works really well. Or escape out of that, go up here, and you can edit here and it color coordinates it. Escape. Okay. Alright, so let's go over here and calculate tax real fast. Equals, I'm going to calculate the tax on the subtotal, D4, times, and our tax rate is 7%. So I clicked on that, or I could have typed E2, and check mark means enter, or I can just hit the enter key. There's my tax, and of course my total I'm going to add. Okay, so equals, I'm going to add D4 plus E4, so D4 plus E4, I'm typing, it's faster for me, and then there's our total. Now this little guy that shows up here, this green box up here, it's just telling you that it's an inconsistent formula, that these two were adding and this one was multiplying, and so maybe something's wrong, but it's Excel, it's not sure you're doing it right, but we are. Okay, so now instead of having to retype that over and over, let's copy this. Okay, so go over here to your lower right hand corner, click drag, and then let go, and sure enough it copied. And notice that what happened with our cell locations, it took B4 and C4 and turned it into B5 and C5, B6, C6, B7, C7. It's because cell locations are all relative. Basically what Excel is remembering is that this is two cells over on the same row, this is one cell over, one column over on the same row, add those two. And now this one says go 2 columns over, 1 column over, and add those two, but it's on the same row. So here, this is saying go to the left 1 on the same row, but then go up 2 spaces up here to E2. Okay, watch what happens when I copy this to the next. we've got some errors popping up, values. It doesn't know what to do. Well, look at our locations. Uh-oh, the D5 is right, but E3, I'm not capturing my tax information because now it's moved down to 2 cells above. It's all relative. Okay, so I'm going to hit escape, and we're going to have to fix that. So I'm going to click on that and select, and then hit the delete key to kind of clear that out. To fix it, one way to fix it is to lock your cell location of E2. So this is the way that Dr. Guy has shown us to lock. And the way you do it is to lock the column so it doesn't move left, right, and to lock the row, you put $ in front of the location. Okay, so in front of the address, we put a $ in front of E, and then that way, no matter where I copy it to, it won't change the address E. And if I put a $ on 2, it won't change the address 2. So E2 is locked. So hit enter. Now let's copy and watch what happens. Okay, so now I've got D5, which is this subtotal, but it stayed E2. D5 E2, D6 E2, D7 E2. And our total, do we want anything there to stay, or is it all going to be relative? It's all relative, isn't it? Because it's just these two guys being added together to get this one, and so there's nothing that we're going to refer back to that doesn't change. Okay, so there's our total sale. All right, so far this is everything we've done in class pretty much, maybe a little bit slower. The other thing I want to mention very quickly is that you can also quickly copy or fill, they call it filling, fill cells by a pattern by just selecting, get the pattern started, 1, 2, 3, 4, and if Excel recognizes it, you can copy, pulling down on that plus on the lower right, and notice what's happening, 1008, 9, 1010. It does it for you without having to type all that in. Okay, I'm going to undo that just to make sure you understand that I wanted it to count 1, 2, 3, 4. If I wanted just to copy something and not fill, I could have, notice what happened there, just selected 1004 and it would just copy, copy, copy. Now Excel's like, well, maybe that's not what you wanted, so it gives you this option down here to change something, and it says, wait, I really meant to fill the series, and if it understands that you were going up by ones, then you can do that. Okay, so that's kind of a handy thing, and there's a whole bunch of other fill options that you can do. But here's the big guy that I really want to show you guys. Okay, right here, this guy that was locked that we used in these 3 cells, here is something that if there's a number or a calculation even that you keep referring back to over and over and over, then why don't you give it some other name besides E2? So what I'm going to do is go over here. I'm in the cell that I want to name. So first make sure that you've got that cell. Then go over here and call it my tax rate. You just can't put any spaces in there, okay? And hit enter. And now take a look at, when we go back up here, all the rest of these are named E6, F5, F4, whatever, but this one is named my tax rate. Cool. So what you can do is, instead of using E2 with $, you can just type in my, ooh, looky there. It popped up for you, so you could even just double click on it. Come on, there we go. And it pops up there for you. Check mark or enter. And now if we copy that, watch what happens. Well, you might say nothing happened. Well, that's because, looky there, it locked it automatically as well. Okay, so naming things, cells, will make typing in your formulas so much easier. One last thing, and then I'm going to show you my Olympic data homework assignment. So the last thing I want to show you is up here under formulas. Right here is this name manager. Okay, click on that, and basically all the names, all the cells that you have named in the workbook or the worksheet will be listed here. And I'll show you mine here in a minute from the other spreadsheet. But the My Tax Rate is in the spring. Well, I was just demonstrating that you could rename these, but name it whatever you want, these tabs, the worksheets. And notice that it's using the dollar signs. It's locked it as E2. The other really cool thing is you don't have to do single cell names. So here's where I want to show you my Olympic data. Okay, here's where I created the histogram and the mean median mode. This should all look super familiar to you guys. Okay, and my data may be backwards. I probably should have done small to large. But anyway, notice that right here and right there, B5, I didn't bother to name that. But my z-score, I didn't bother to name either. But I used dollar signs to lock the cells, because to do the z-score, you subtract the mean, divide by the standard deviation, and we can talk tomorrow about that, all that. But anyway, notice right here where I calculated the mean. Remember what our formula was? Equals average. Remember when we calculated the mean, we did equals average, parentheses, and then we went over here and selected all the data. Okay, and we did all of that. All right. Escape. I'm going to get out of that. I don't want to do that. Escape, escape, escape. Okay. What I want to show you is what I did. Right here, mean. Take a look at this. Average of ML Olympic data. What? Well, what I did was, and here's the fast way to select your data. Andrea showed me this. Click on this, hit Shift, Control, hold both of those down, and press the down arrow key. It goes all the way to the bottom. Let go. Looky there. I named this whole entire selection Mary Lynn's Olympic data. Okay? And the way you do it is you select it all and then go up here and name it. And that way you never ever have to select that data ever again. So you can call it whatever you want to, just don't put any spaces in there. So now when I type in the formula, I just go equals average ML Olympic data, and there it is. Double click, parentheses, enter. Ta-da! It's so much faster. Notice what I did here. Median ML Olympic data, mode ML Olympic data, range, maximum minus the minimum, maximum of the data minus the minimum of the data, the variance, the standard deviation. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but over to the right, or excuse me, the left, this side, notice that I named this box Mary Lynn's mean, Mary Lynn median, Mary Lynn mode. Okay, standard deviation, I didn't put the ML in front. Okay, now right here on my z-scores, on the z-scores I did use obviously the locked cells, but F4 is ML mean. So I could have right here put ML mean, and I still would have had the same z-score, and if I double click on that, it automatically fills that right up. And I also could have put standard deviation. Okay, notice this little tag right here. That's like you know, a retail store tag. That means I've named it, I've given it a label. Okay, and then notice it didn't change any of the numbers when I did that. So to make things so much easier, notice I named that Court 1, Court 2. Okay, and I'm going to click over here under Show Formulas, and it's going to change the sheet all of a sudden. Basically everywhere there's a formula, it's going to show it, so be prepared for it to change. Okay, notice what happened here. ML mean, so it took this data minus this minus that. Okay, right here, percentiles, quartile 3 plus quartile 3 minus quartile 1 times 1.5 to get the upper and lower quartile ranges. Over here I did some kind of fun, it's fun for me, sorry, but fun stuff for me as far as how to figure out the upper and lower class ranges for the histogram. Okay, So anyway, I hope that naming some things would help. So I will see you guys later.